My Lord, 11 o'clock. My Lord, I will do my best not to repeat the points that have been made by my learned friend, Mr. Lita. I would like to start, my Lord, by quoting from the proceedings of 15th day of May at page 15, my Lord, the evidence of Dr. Baumia talking about the post-election or towards the end of the election. Quote, before the statement was issued, your party on Saturday has been claiming that from your information, the party had won the elections. Is that not true? Answer. I am sure about I'm not sure about the specific claim, but I am saying that we thought we were winning the election on the night of the 7th. As I said before, everything seems to be changed on the 8th. Lord, a further quote from Dr. Baumia on the 7th day of May, 2013, at page 43. Under cross-examination. Question. Your testimony about how by the end of the first day you were winning, that was based on the polling station declared results being made available to you at the headquarters, was it not? That was based on the assessment of our agents and our officials across the country. I was not exactly there to know what they were looking at, whether they were looking at polling sheets and giving us the results, but they were basing to a large extent, I would imagine, to the assessment of the day of the election, and we thought we were winning on the 7th. Yes, question. The assessment was based on the declared results at the polling stations. Answer. I am not sure. To a large extent it was, but I am just telling you that we were winning on the 7th. We did not win on the 8th. My Lord, the question is, what changed? Dr. Baumia, until he left the witness box, did not tell us what changed. Neither did his counsel. My Lord, I am suggesting by way of submission that nothing changed. The ballots continued to be counted openly, having been cast openly in public. They continued to be counted the same way as at the time they thought they were winning, as at the time they realized they were not winning. They were counted openly, attested to by the agents, and signed on openly, as we say in Ghana, fili-fili. Thereafter, to the collation center, and the same verification took place after all had agreed on the collation, i.e. the addition. That is the second level of verification. First at the polling station, with the public participating in the counting. 1, 2, 3, as we all saw on television, my Lord. And then the third level at the strong room, where also representatives of the contestants were present, my Lord. So nothing changed. The counting and the verification continued as it had been when they were winning, as after, my Lord. So we are suggesting, my Lord, that first of all, your Lordship will take due account of the evidence of Dr. Farijan about the importance of the counting of the ballots in public, stating that this was one of the pillars of transparency in the electoral system of Ghana. So against that background, we would urge your Lordship to look very, very skeptically at attempts to undermine the result of that process through alleged or perceived or even actual errors in the completion of the first part of the pink sheet, which do not affect the result, do not benefit one party or the other. everything changed? My Lord, did the presiding officer stop signing? Did the serial numbers pop up? Nothing changed, my Lord. This is my submission. Now, my Lord, on the electoral system of Ghana, apart from the evidence of Dr. Farijad, we have the evidence under cross-examination by Mr. Addison, my Lord. Lord, at cross-examination, I will get the date. He was, that's right. My Lord, I have found it. I didn't lose more of my 30 minutes. It was on the 15th of July, my Lords. 15th of July from page 63 onwards. My Lord, under cross-examination, he mentioned that he led the team that made recommendations to the government of Nigeria at the request of two friendly governments, my Lord. And from page 63, I'll even start from page 61, my Lord. I'm saying that at the request of the President of Nigeria, the UK and US diplomatic missions arranged for an independent international electoral assessment team to make recommendations for the 2011 elections in Nigeria. Dr. Farijad said he was the leader of the team. My Lord, I'll go down to refreshing his memory on one of the recommendations that giving the severe loss of confidence in INEC leadership, INEC should be reconstituted, etc. My Lord, I go further to the question, if given the same opportunity in Ghana, would you make such a recommendation? Answer, my Lord, we have a very good, transparent, firm, and tested electoral system. My Lord, there are many, you mean this recommendation is fit for Nigeria, but not for Ghana? Answer, my Lord, there are many countries that would like to emulate the Ghanaian electoral system. The second recommendation, question, was INEC should be transparent in its work by providing full information to election stakeholders and easily and accessible format. Would you recommend that for Ghana? Answer, my Lords, we have always done that in Ghana. We have even gone beyond that. In many places, they don't even know where they are printing the ballots. The calculations on which the ballot printing is based, you are not allowed to be present when voters are being registered. All these things have become part and parcel of our electoral system. The level of transparency is very high. I must say, the result of verifiability, in fact, we are here, but we are able to know what happened in Bunkurugu, Yonyo, Eyimo, my hometown, Quarshie, and so on. This is the level of transparency. Another recommendation, question, was that the major area of concern is a lack of transparency and verifiability in the results process and counting of the votes, and the transmission of the tabulation of results must be transparent and conducted in strict compliance with the electoral laws. In particular, results of polling stations should be announced and preferably displayed at the polling station, as well as other points of collation. Copies of polling station results should be given to party agents and all other persons entitled by law to receive them for purposes of greater transparency. A copy of the results at each Counting or collation point could be made available to domestic observers present. All total results announced should be accompanied with a breakdown of the composite units. The more easily available in the individual units results are the higher levels of compilation, the more easily parties and other stakeholders can check the veracity of the results, thereby improving confidence in the process and acceptance of the electoral outcome. Beautiful words. Will you recommend that for Ghana? Answer. In effect, what we were doing was referring the Ghanaian system to Nigeria. That was the answer. My Lord, I would respectfully submit that the verifiability of Ghana's electoral system has not been questioned in any way by the evidence that has been laid before your lordships. Your lordship will note in particular the information provided to the political parties regarding the voters' register, regarding the printing of the ballots, the monitoring by the political parties of the printing of the ballots, the evidence of Mr. Sidun Ketia. They mounted a 24-hour monitoring system, shifts of 8 hours each, 3 shifts, 8 times 3, 24, 24-hour surveillance, and they followed the trucks carrying the ballot papers, different constituencies, and the supervisors looked over the distribution to the polling stations. My Lord, the height of transparency. Also, the voters' register given to the political parties and thereby available to the polling agents made it possible for them to monitor closely the events at each polling station. Your lordships could imagine what would be the result if we did not have a system of counting the votes at the polling station there and then and declaring them. On the question of the electoral register, on the 30th of July, the deadline for our submission of our written submissions, it was on the news that in a far country on our beloved continent, the electoral register had been released on that day. As it happened, my Lord, the election there was taking place on the 31st, the very day after, my Lord. So when Idan says that we have a tried and tested system, I would suggest to your lordships to accept that this has been clearly established in the evidence that has been laid here, my Lord. My Lord, on the 6 categories that have been put forward by the petitioners, I would respectfully urge your lordships to find that they have not established the causal link between those allegations, even if they were established, and the results as declared by the Electoral Commission. They have not established a causal link between those allegations, even if established, and the results as declared by Dr. Farijan. Now, Lord, way back in April, on the 16th of April 2013, in compliance with your lordship's order of the 2nd, when we received the petitioner's affidavit and had to swear to our affidavit, Amadou Sule, Deputy Chairman of the Electoral Commission, in paragraph 3 of this affidavit stated as follows: the manner in which the 2012 elections were conducted, as described in paragraph 14 of the amended answer filed on behalf of the second respondent on April 3, 2013, and the participation of the representatives of all political parties in the procedures followed at the constituency collation centers, we have already mentioned at the polling stations, my lord, and in the second respondent's headquarters, the strong room, makes it impossible to falsify the votes cast and to conceal such falsification. By the same token, it is impossible to make a false allegation of falsification and to sustain such an allegation. It is for this reason that the allegations made in Exhibit NDC 43 could not be sustained by the petitioners either on the 9th of December 2012 or when they came to file the petition before your lordships. The other quotation, my lord, very brief, that I'd like to make is in paragraph 14 of the same affidavit filed on 16th April 2013 by Amadou Sure, sworn to by him, paragraph 36 and to 68, that is of Mr. Baumia's affidavit containing the exhibits, contains inconsistencies and are denied. The second respondent says that the petitioners are fastening onto errors committed in the completion of pink sheets by presiding officers that do not benefit any particular candidate or affect the number of votes validly cast at polling stations, my lord. My lord, a word on Domi Kwabenya. Domi Kwabenya, it was admitted under cross-examination to Dr. Daumia that was a simple question of addition. It was a question of adding the votes in that constituency, and it had to be collation or addition. It had to be done 9 times, and by the time it was done on the 9th occasion, everybody agreed. So that was not a case of ballot stuffing or any such. It was a simple question of addition, and they agreed eventually. Why did it not happen in any of the other polling stations? The vigilance of the observers is what resulted there. It would have happened if the need had arisen in many other of the 26,002 polling stations. Now, my lord, on that, it is significant that out of that large number, 26,002, the petitioners were only able to produce one example of a discrepancy between the votes as counted at the polling station and the votes at the collation center, and it involved 80 votes. This has been admitted with the usual candor of the second respondent, 80 votes that did not affect the overall results, and a person wrote 90, instead of 97, wrote 17, my lord. A total of 80 votes. If out of 26,002 polling stations, only one, this is an excellent record that I would urge your lordships to take fully into account. My lord, we would refer also to the written address filed by the petitioners on page 122, my lord. Under the heading credibility of the chairman of the Electoral Commission. My lord, paragraph B at the end of that page, page 122. He gave a spurious explanation of the existence of C3 in the pink sheet. His explanation that the electoral officials forgot to bring from 1C to the polling station and therefore could not capture the class of voters intended to be entered in question C3 was palpably false. In the second respondent's own training manual, tendered and marked with EC2, the list of items required at the polling station did not include Form 1C, so it had never been in the contemplation of the second respondent. A further excuse by Dr. Idan that presiding officers were instructed to enter 0 in the C3 column also proved to be another white lie, as C3 column was filled throughout the country. My Lord, this is a misrepresentation of the evidence of Dr. Idan, and I'll refer your lordships to page 30th May at page 91 and 92. My Lord, he said the following, having described the history of that particular clause. He said, Form 1C, we did not take Form 1Cs that would have answered that question. We did not even take them to the polling stations. If they had agreed, as the political parties, if the political parties had agreed, then we would have, because we have these C1Cs, but since they said no, there was no need any longer for us to take those forms to the polling stations, and we didn't take them. Here we are in Counsel's written submission, a statement that Dr. Idan said they forgot. My Lord, we should be able to rely on the veracity of statements in written addresses, my Lord, to say the least. Thank you. My Lord, we would respectfully submit that the petitioners have failed to prove their case before your lordships. Not one single vote ought to be annulled. They have not justified the annulment of a single vote under any of the categories that they have cited. We would rely, of course, on our written submission and the few matters that we have brought your lordship's attention in this oral address. Thank you.